and just rotating the fingers. And if tied, then you're okay. There we go. Sorry, I'm doing 20 things at the same time. I need to give it, but it's not the vision of the later really say. It happens. It happens. Anyways, let's go to Revelation 12, and then we'll be going to the discussion of Revelation 12. And I realized that I skipped two questions, but I don't want to take too much of your time, so we're just gonna only do with that one, and then go to the next part of this book. Tell you what, how about this? I, I'll leave the other two questions for you guys for chapter 11 as homework for you guys. And I'm gonna put it right in the chat. And now we just do the next part of this. Chapter 12. And I don't know, I really gotta start adding an ad blocker that's more permanent. I used to have an ad blocker that blocked everything, but I had to pay for it. Boo. Anyway, Woman and the Dragon. I can now picture all of the Lord of the Rings being brought back to this, being the inspiration. You guys ever watch Lord of the Rings, by the way? And you haven't. Who has? Like, and saw like the Mother of Dragons. You have? Sometimes when I see that, I think of this little scene over here, where we're going to be reading The Woman and the Dragon. It's like, well, well, well. I wonder if this is the inspiration. Wink, wink. I mean, it's probably not, but it's still just like, well, well, well. What do we have here? Regardless, let's begin to read. I'm not going to speculate anymore. We're going to read the word, and the word is true. The Woman and the Dragon. A great sign appeared in heaven. A woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and a crown of 12 stars on her head. She was pregnant and cried out in pain as she was about to give birth. Then another sign appeared in heaven, an enormous red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns and the 7 crowns of its head. This dragon is Satan. Its tail swept a third of the stars out of the sky and flung them to the earth. The stars represent the angels. A dragon stood in front of the woman who was about to give birth, so that it might devour the child. The woman he was born. She gave birth to a son, a male child who will rule all the nations with an iron scepter, and her child will snatch up to God and his throne. The woman fled into the wilderness, a place prepared for her by God where she might be taken care of for this again. 3.5 years, okay? Every time I see this number, I'm gonna say 3.5 years, okay? Reading a little bit about this chapter, the pregnant woman, I know this represents the bride of Christ, but the story about the woman being birthed always kind of like reminds me of Jesus and how, you know, how in the beginning of the uh, New Testament with Matthew, it tells about how when Jesus was born, the king of the time in Jerusalem wanted to just kill all the firstborns, all the people who were born during that time, any children, because freaking people, I believe the wise men basically alerted him saying, "Where will the king of the Jews be born during the first coming?" Have you guys remember those pieces or no? I'm talking in the beginning of the New Testament, specifically in Matthew. This honestly right here kind of mirrors that exact thing. The dragon, being Satan, wanted to basically kill Jesus right the moment he was basically born. Heck, the king, let me just get into Matthew specifically. I know it says so in Matthew. Matthew, chapter 1. Share this tab instead. Let's see. Da-da-da-da. This is the birth of Jesus Christ, the Messiah. Uh, da-da-da-da-da. Must be in chapter 2 then. There it is. After Jesus was born during the time of the king, it says, "Where is born King of the Jews?" King Harold was disturbed, and what he wanted to do, freaking, where's the exact words? Son of born. I'm trying to speed read. Give me a second. Star. I must be reading too fast sometimes. Was disturbed in all Jerusalem. Reasons for Messiah. By no means our rulers to a shepherd. Callas and sent and said, "Go and careful as soon as you find him. For the king of Sion until stop the place of a child." They were overjoyed. But his mother Mary bowed down and worshipped, or a dream not to go. They escaped in Egypt. Matthew 2:13 all the way to 18. That's what I'm looking for mainly. Matthew 2:13 to 18. It kind of mirrors this part. After Jesus was born, they had to escape away to Egypt. And in many ways, going back to this tab, her child was snatched up from God, where the ruler, or in this case, in this case being Satan, tried to kill the child right then and there. But if if Satan couldn't kill Jesus then, he won't be able to do it now. I can tell you that much. And then later in that chapter, chapter 2 in Matthew, they return back home. Now going down and stopping the whole thing. Let's go back to Revelation. I think I was fled into the wilderness to prepare, held by God. Yeah, I already talked to Revelation 6. Flicker. 7. Then war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angel fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back. But he was not strong enough, and they have lost their place in heaven. The great dragon was hurled down, that ancient serpent called the devil, or Satan, who led the whole world astray. He was hurled to the earth, and his angels with him. Then I heard a loud voice in heaven say, now have come the salvation and the power and the kingdom of our God and the authority of his Messiah. For accusers of our brothers and sisters who accused them before our God day and night has been hurled down. They triumph over him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. They did not love their lives so much as to shrink from death. Therefore rejoice, you heavens, and you who dwell in him. But woe to the earth and the sea, because the devil has gone down to you. He is filled with fury, because he knows that his time is short. When the dragon saw that he had been hurled to the earth, he pursued the woman who had given birth to the male child. The woman who has been given 2 wings of a great eagle so that she might fly to a place prepared for her in the wilderness, where she would be taken care of for a time and a half a time out of the serpent's reach. Then from his mouth the serpent spewed water like a river to overtake the woman and sweep her away with torrents. But the earth helped the woman by opening its mouth and swallowing the river that the dragon had spewed out of his mouth. Then the dragon was enraged, and the woman went off to wage war against the rest of her offsprings, those who keep God's commandment and hold fast their testimony about Jesus. Now we can actually just let bit choppy. But let's get used to this. I really need to get like a mic. I'm gonna buy one today in Amazon so I can actually have a headset. Maybe you guys will be able to hear me better that way. Regardless, let's go back to fully dissecting this whole chapter, shall we? The woman and the dragon and the male child. John sees a great sign in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and on the head of a crown of 12 stars. This woman is also universally interpreted as representing Israel, the nation which the Messiah came. The imagery of the sun and moon and 12 stars is a direct allusion of Joseph's dream in Genesis 37, 9, 10, where the sun and moon and the 7th star bow down to him, representing Jacob, Israel, his wife, and his 12 sons, his 12 tribes. The second sign appear a great red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns, and on its head 7 diadems. The dragon is explicitly identified in verse 9 as the ancient serpent who is called the devil, and Satan the deceiver of the whole world. The 7 heads and 10 horns are symbolic to his power and authority, which will be exercised to the beast of Revelation 13. His tail sweeping a third of the stars from heaven is a symbolic of Satan leading a third of the angels in his rebellion against God. The woman pregnant gives birth to a male child who is the ruler of all nations with a rod of iron. This is undeniable reference to Jesus Christ. A direct quote from the Messiah in Psalms 2:9. As soon as the child is born, a dragon attempts to devour him. A clear reference to King Herodes, what I was talking a little bit. Attempt to kill the infant Jesus, Matthew 2:16. However, the child got caught up to God and his throne, symbolizing Christ's ascension after his resurrection and ultimate victory. The woman fled into the wilderness where she has a place prepared by God, where she is to be nourished for 3.5 years. The Spirit responds to the second half of the tribulation, where remnants of Israel is divinely protected. The scene masterly summarized the entire biblical narrative from Genesis to the Ascension. It shows that the true conflict of history is not merely human, but a cosmic battle between Satan and the promises of the Messiah. The physical persecution that believers face is a direct result of Satan's rage against the Christ and his kingdom. The battle, war arose in heaven, Michael and his angels fighting against the dragon. This is a direct and violent conflict. The mighty archangel, Michael, leads the army of God's angels against Satan and his forces. The dragon and his angels were defeated, and there was no longer any place for them in heaven. Satan is definitely cast out of heaven and thrown down from the earth. The voice of heaven rejoices, protecting that now salvation and power and the kingdom of our God and the authority of his Christ has come. Means of victory. The heavenly voices then declare how this victory was won. The believers overcame Satan by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of the testimony, for they love not their lives even unto death. This is a powerful statement. The ultimate victory over Satan is not through angelic power alone, but through the astonishing sacrifices of Christ and courage witnesses to his followers. This passage provides immense comfort and all a call to courage. It shows that Satan is not an equal opponent to God, he is the defeated foe who has been cast out. The victory song in heaven reveals the primal weapon of spiritual warfare for believers, the astonishing sacrifices of Christ and our fearless testimonies, even to the points of martyrdom. Go a little up, please. There we go. Having been cast out of heaven, the dragon's wrath is now directed at the woman Israel on earth. He pursues her relentlessly. The woman is given 2 wings of the great angel to escape her protected place in the wilderness. This image echoes God's protection in Israel in the Old Testament, Exodus 19:4. The dragon then spews a flood from his mouth to carry her away. This flood can be seen as a literal military force, a torment of deception, or a spiritual attack. The earth came to help of the woman by swallowing the flood. This is a divine supernatural intervention that